Alright, so we're getting back to work on the CUB today. It's been a while and I'm very excited to do this because now we're reaching the final steps for this thing. I'm going to go over this real quick because I've said it a bunch of times, but I originally had two CUBs. I parted one out because I needed a lot of pieces for the better one that had the titled frame to finish it. So I took the other one. I still have the motor, I still have a bunch of little pieces, but it was the blue and white model, and this one with the title frame was the red and white 93 model. So to match all the other plastics I have, I decided the best option was to go with the red and white one because I was missing more parts off the blue one. So the only thing I was missing off the red one was the headset, because I have the white headset that belongs on the red model, but it's just destroyed. It's cracked, it's missing so much of the headset. But luckily, I had the blue headset. Now the blue headset is mint. It has no cracks, it's golden. The only problem is these blue headsets go for a lot of money, and I would hate to be the guy that takes a rare piece like this blue headset and paints it white and just ruins what could be someone's missing part to the bike. I was on the search for a white headset. Hopefully I found someone that had, you know, the different model and they wanted to trade, vice versa. Maybe they needed this one. So I was trying to find either I could sell this and buy a white headset or trade someone for it, and I could not find a white headset anywhere I looked. So I spent about 3 months now looking for a white headset, and finally I caved and hit up my boy Andrew Zupa and said, you know what, send me the fiberglass ones you have. And as you can see, this is a fiberglass one, so we're going to need to do some work to make sure everything lines up, and we're also going to need to paint it now. So looks like it's got a little bit of work we can do before we paint it, but most importantly what we need to do is he 3D prints off the mounting points that usually would go right on the front panel down here. So I kind of mocked this one up so I can copy it, but there's these mounting points that go behind this little thing here where the actual screw goes into. Well, on this one, he 3D prints them, and now we have to epoxy glue them into the right spots. So I got some Loctite epoxy glue here, fast drying. This should work pretty good. I usually use JB Weld for plastic, but I've heard a lot of good about this right here, so I want to try it out. And I thought, what a better project to try it out on. But this isn't all we got for the CUB today. So we got this kicker cover, which goes on the under panel, which is over here. And this giant open spot right there, kicker cover. We had to get this in carbon fiber because we were missing that as well. And it's so hard and so expensive to source the correct one. There's so many random parts for this bike. They're very, very hard and very expensive to source. Just like this grill here, which I see go for $500 for the original one. So we got a carbon fiber one of those as well, made again by my boy Andrew Zupa in Italy, and he's sending me all the goodies. So carbon fiber under panel, carbon fiber kicker, fiberglass headset. Now we're gonna have to paint all this stuff. So we're going, I think it's Shasta white for this, and then this is the gray that goes for the under guard, which is a different color. And then this is like a silver. So there are three different colors we got to paint now, which kind of sucks, but yeah, it's just what it is. So we want this thing to look good, and we're really getting there. So what I'm going to do is really work on kind of just like finding the spot that these need to go, mark the spots maybe with a Sharpie, and then we'll get back to it, and I'll show you guys what we're going to do. Well, I take back what I said. I think I'm going to go with painting the blue one now because I just don't like how this fiberglass one is lining up. He suggests using some heat and forming it around here. The only thing I don't really like, and it's hard to get fiberglass stuff to line up like perfect. Trust me, I've wide-bodied a couple cars now, and I know fiberglass is a bitch to work with sometimes. I just don't have it lined up good. I'm trying to show you guys one hand is near impossible, but when I get them all lined up, even with this one, you know, it's a little wider here than it is on the bottom. When I have it lined up here, even when it's lined up here, there's gaps, and I have to like have this pinched in. I just don't want the fitment to be like janky looking, and I don't want gaps everywhere. And I feel like no matter what I do with this fiberglass one, there's not enough mounting points. There's nothing up top that holds it in. These pins right here are usually what locks it in on these ones. As you can see, it has all these little, as you can see, there's all these little slide and lock-in points that hold it up top. And I just feel like if I'm off-roading this thing, this fiberglass one is just going to shake off and rattle loose. So I just don't even want to deal with it. I think I'm just going to paint the blue one, sadly. So take back what I said about keeping a blue one mint for the boys out there. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to paint it. It's that simple. So, damn it. I didn't want to go this route, but painting this one white. So, anyways, I'm going to start working on getting some of this stuff on here because I really want to see the CUB getting dressed up. But so before we can throw everything on, we had to go through and clean every little bit of all these plastics. So I was cleaning the underneath, fixing them, there's a lot of broken pieces, so I used the epoxy glue for the plastic and tried to fix those cracks. We had to get all the little decals off the swing arm because we had brand new decal kit, which included all the warning labels, all the graphics kit, everything we needed. So got those all cleaned up. Magic Eraser, of course, came in clutch with all that. Had to figure out how everything fit because I did not know the order of the way the plastics went on this thing, because when I originally got them, none of them had the plastics on them. So slowly figured out how everything fitted. All right, we got all these little OEM bolts and bits right here from Honda. So we're gonna start throwing it together. And I got some new OEM little shiny pieces all in there. So still gotta do the belt and everything on the other side. So just throwing the back fender and the chain guard on, and then we'll slowly start going from there. There's nothing more satisfying than using OEM hardware brand new on all these little pieces. It's exactly what I did when I rebuilt my Banshee, the one I previously sold, the all OEM one, and it's just so satisfying. It really makes a difference and makes these things look clean. So popped off the side case because we had a brand new belt to throw on, so I had to take the pegs back off on that, and hooked up the electric start while I was in there. It actually had the appendix gear in there already. It was just all cockeyed in the back of the case. So figured that out, plugged the electric start in, bolted it up, put the new belt on, and this thing was ready to go. It's been a while. Boys, we have electric start. Finally have electric start on here, boys. Sounds like the starter gets hung up for a second, but we did it, boys. Now we're gonna be able to put our little kickstart up here. We'll be able to run the kickstart panel. The kickstart actually bolts to like in here under the seat. It's pretty cool. So we'll be able to keep it up there now. And these kickstarts actually go for like $400 from what I've seen on eBay for one of these kickstarts, which is absolutely just outrageous. But I want to say it mounts like in one of these holes up here. Oh, I think it's actually this hole, but it mounts like in here somehow, and you keep that for a spare in case obviously your battery dies. But now we can actually throw our foot guards on, finalize everything in there, put the foot brake back in now because we got our new belt and everything in there, so we can put all the goods back together and have this thing as a rideable bike pretty much. Reassembling this thing is so satisfying because we got all these little pieces powder coated again. So the peg mount, kickstand, all that is so fresh, and all the bolts are brand new. It's just, it looks like a brand new bike in every corner of this thing. Alright, so here is all the pieces to the Cub. Some of them are already clean, some aren't. So as you can see, this one is cleaned up and ready to go. So we'll set that one aside. One side panel all clean, and as you can tell, this one is not. So, God, dude, I suck at focusing with this new lens. My other lens broke. So, but as you can see, this one's all dirty still. This one's brand new. Now we need to get that one cleaned up to be able to match it like this one. This one's ready for the graphics. I can't wait to finalize everything and put the Cub graphics back on it. So, we already cleaned up the gas tank cover. We still have to polish this side of it, but as for actual cleaning, it's cleaned. So set that aside for a second. And I guess you call this like the seat hoop or whatever you want to call it, but this round part on the back, that is already cleaned up too. So these are all the remaining pieces. This needs to be painted. So, oh, that's heavier than I thought. We'll put that aside. We gotta drop that off for paint along with the headset and these little bits over here. So, but these three are left to clean and polish up. So that's what we're gonna work on. My camera, man, this lens is no good with the no autofocus. But now we have our kickstart mounted in the factory location. Has like a little pin that sits in there, and then it uses the bolt for the actual kickstart part right there. So now we have that. We can even run the little kickstart bushing thing now that I have right here. I think this is just to, the boy Andrew sells these too, but I think this is just to like prevent the little cover from concaving in or something. I don't know. But we can put that on now too. Little covers on there. She's ready to go. Well, the long-awaited Honda Cub project. Taking my time with this one, sourcing all the right parts, getting everything done right. We just finished up the goods. So, if you know, this under panel, we've been waiting to repaint this because it was rusty and we needed a few things done with it. It had a massive dent here in the corner. We got that fixed up. It's hard to see, but down there. And then we got it bondoed and smoothed out for paint over here. So we got the OEM paint code. So I actually ordered the OEM paint for the headset and for this bottom part. The OEM paint match colors. It took me a while to source them because nowhere local was able to get them. Luckily I was able to order them, dropped them off to the homie to paint, and here we are. So we got that all fixed up. Matches perfect with the rest of the bike. It's a little bit shinier, obviously, because it's newer, but the paint actually matches. So we're good there, and we got the under panel. So now we got some OEM bits, just some bolts and some rubber washers and everything to go through here. And it's finally time to put this bike back together. I'm so excited to see this thing finished and actually ride it. I rode it the other day, just messing around with the homies that were here, and we took it out as is. And this thing's a ripper, bro. It's a ripper. So pulled the seat off. We already got this back half organized. And I've never put the panels on one of these yet, so curious to see how it goes, but let's get straight to it. Again, here I go trying to figure out how all these panels sit. I knew the bottom panel would have to go first because everything sat on top of it. So we had that fresh underbelly to throw on first with a lot of brand new hardware. And then we got to figure out how all these side pieces lined up. And these still need to be cleaned at this point, as you can see. Threw the headset together, which needed some wiring because the kill switch was jumped on this thing when I got it. And then I struggled putting the headset on for a little bit because I had to figure out how everything sat behind the headset and didn't get pinched. And then I figured out it was also just a waste of time because I had to take it back off to put the gas tank cover back on. So it didn't fit between there. I probably could have wedged it, but I didn't want to risk breaking anything. So popped that back off, started assembling everything, things coming off, things going on. This undergrill was probably the hardest part. Well, here is how the Cub currently sits. We got all the panels thrown on, which was highly confusing actually to get them all situated. But I think I figured it all out now, and she's looking amazing. The last thing we're gonna do is come in here and hit the final cleaning. So a lot of these pieces I've already cleaned on the side, but just putting them together, I got my hand prints, my paw prints all over these things and dirtied them all up in certain areas. So we're gonna come in here, finalize it, polish it, finalize cleaning it, and then we're gonna hit it with some plastic polish, and you're gonna see this thing really shine now. So she fires right up. First time having all the switches up here now. Kill switch works now. If you remember, that was a big issue on this thing, was the wiring to that kill switch. So figured everything out, and yeah, let's get to cleaning, boys. Get all this all cleaned up now. And then the last satisfying bit, of course, putting the graphics on to finalize it. So these went on pretty good. I used a heat gun to make sure I didn't get any bubbles in it, and it's just like doing window tints. And I actually used a little bit of soap and water on the back just so I can kind of move the sticker around as I let it sit. It just makes it easier that way. And then use the heat gun, get all that out, get all the bubbles out, and then I actually let the bike sit in the sun for a little bit after this, just to get the stickers to sit pretty good, because it's really cold here now, and I was scared that these stickers would start peeling off. This is like the final step to seeing this bike complete. I couldn't wait to be able to put all these on, step back, and actually look at it. So got all the warning labels on the handlebar, on all the fresh painted pieces, make this thing look exactly how it did in 1993. New graphics everywhere, even warning emblems. The only one that got messed up was this one right here, and that's literally because I put it on previously, and back in between here, the foot peg on the poop grabbed it and peeled it back a little bit, which really sucks, but it's alright. It's still better condition than the other one looked, but swing arm's not perfect anyways, so kind of matches. But got all the ones on here sitting perfect, no bubbles anywhere, and everything looks amazing. So lined it up with all the OEM spots. I was able to use a light and kind of see the difference in color from where the stickers sat, so I got it pretty perfect. Well, luckily all these aftermarket graphics kit were the exact size, so they fit really good inside of the old markings. As you can see, I went a tiny bit off right there, but all up around here, it's sat perfect. So I'm only like, literally like not even a millimeter off. It's just hard to see because I can't hold the light at the same time I'm setting it. But everything on there all good. Got there. Got the handlebar one. The only logos I have left is this one goes under the seat, but mine's in really good condition already. And then this one, but this is a 1993 model. I don't want to put the non-accurate sticker on there if mine's still in good condition. And then this one, I have no clue where it goes, but I'll find out shortly. But most importantly, the part I've been waiting on to put on since I got this bike was the handguard. This is my favorite look on these EZ90s, and I cannot wait to see what it looks like. OEM handguards, let's install them, boys. We got some OEM screws also put on with it. I don't think I could ever have an EZ90 without running handguards on it. This thing just finalizes the way the bike looks. These things look like they're meant to be off-road, and I think it's just Honda's design to make it look somewhat like a dirt bike. So you have to have these handguards on. They're the final touch to this, and this is like the iconic part to me. So I was very excited to throw these on and see what it really looked like. And of course, Andrew sent me out a little CUB keychain. So I made sure I got the right key and threw on this little Honda CUB keychain. This thing really tied it all in, matched perfectly with it, and I was stoked. This was like the cherry on top of the whole thing. So, well, I said I wanted to finish this project before the year ends, and it is currently 6 p.m. on New Year's Eve. So we got the CUB finished, it's all cleaned up. I'm just gonna do some glamour shots of it, and we're gonna test ride it, and we're gonna do some fun stuff with it here in the remainder of this video. But the CUB project is finished, boys. Boys, the Honda CUB is finished, and it is finally time to give this thing a ride. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I've actually been riding this thing a lot lately. I've been cruising around the neighborhoods. It's too fun, but I haven't been filming it because I was kind of waiting to get the final build done on this thing, all the plastics on and everything like that. So this thing is complete right now, and it is an absolute beauty, bro. Look at this thing just shining right now. Ooh, starts right up, dude. Gotta get to this. Thing's gonna be cold though. It is absolutely freezing out here today. Winter has officially hit Vegas, and it is ice cold. There's snow on the mountains back there, the snow-capped mountains all around. I wish we had the Easy 90 snow tracks to go hit the mountain with. Wouldn't that be cool? But yeah, boys, Easy 90. It's shining right now. In general, this bike is my first time ever riding one of these, and let me tell you, I was surprised how quick this thing is. It's got good suspension. Look at that. It's not like a scooter, baby. This thing's meant for the dirt. We're hitting the speed bump going 40. Oh my god. It is also weird because this thing has a foot brake and a rear handbrake combined, so it runs off the same mechanism. The pivot arm has two cables running through it, just the one arm. So you got a cable here. As you see, this bottom one's not moving. The cable's for the handbrake and the other one's for the foot brake. But when you push the foot brake, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but the brake gets like soft because you're using the arm already for the foot brake. So it feels nuts, but I don't even know the top speed of one of these, so I'm gonna have to Google it. I wish I had my GPS reader on here, but I need to mount it somewhere, and yeah, I don't think we have anywhere really solid to mount this thing. But I'm assuming this thing probably does about 50, maybe 45, but let's see right here. It just cruises, dude. It's so smooth. It's like it runs out of gearing, like right here. I feel like we're probably doing about maybe 40, a little bit over 40. It just cruises, dude. Brakes work so good. Look at that. Oh, locked it up. Brakes work so good though. We got some brand new OEM pads in it, front and rear. And oh yeah, fronts work really good. I would, you know, pop it up a little bit, but we know YouTube doesn't like the wheelies anymore, man. YouTube does not like it, but I will say I was wheeling it the other day when I was riding it. It is pretty hard though, I'm not gonna lie. The front end on this thing is heavy. These wheels are so heavy. The forks are heavy. Everything's heavy on this thing. It's not like a scooter. So it's a little harder to wheelie. If this thing had a little bit more power to it, it'd probably be no problem, but to get it initially, get it up, it's a little hard. I know I've probably said this like 10 times during this build, but I've seriously wanted one of these since I was a child. Like, I remember going to the racetrack, seeing them in the pits, and I didn't even know what it was. I just remember like the iconic look of them. And later on figured out what they were, and I searched for years. It's been a long time searching for one. I've seen them pop up, but obviously they're like $6,000 to $7,000. So this right here was like a score of a lifetime for me. This was definitely like one of my bucket list bikes right here. So this right here is so satisfying. Next, we're bringing this thing to the dirt for sure. I didn't want to do it today because I literally just spent 2 hours polishing this thing to get some clips of it. And last thing I want to do is just filthy it up right before I get to, like, you know, post some more pictures and stuff. So, dude, this thing's just a beauty, man. It's so cool looking, and everybody turns their neck when they see this thing. It's so sick, and it runs so good. New plug, clean the carb, and then everything else was cosmetic. So motor wise, oh, and we put a new belt in it, but that's literally it. Everything else was cosmetics, and that was the biggest thing to do on this thing. Find the missing pieces, fix the broken ones, clean up the really bad condition ones, and here we are, boys. Dude, this little thing mobs, bro. It's so quiet too with this exhaust, you can hardly tell it's two-stroke unless you're at idle. We're mobbing. Dude, this thing's a little ripper. We need to figure out how to make this thing street legal. I know they sell like kits for it. I just don't know if it's titleable street legal, if it's meant for off-road, you know? Well, we got the iconic dryer noise going on in the background. Shout out to the person that always comments when I do this, but this is the final product of the Honda CUB EZ90, and I am just blown away and so stoked on how clean this thing is. It's something so satisfying about finally getting something you've always wanted and then it turning out exactly how you planned. I learned so much about these doing this thing, and it was really hard to find a lot of these pieces, so it worked out great. I'm very satisfied with it. It's another build off the list, boys, and like I said, we finished this thing in 2023, so this was the final build of the year. We finished it literally on New Year's Eve. It is now 2024, so Happy New Year to everyone watching this. If you enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, check out the link down in the description below. It helps a ton. It's the website. You can grab some merch off there. Or if you don't want to buy anything, you want to support the channel, a like and a subscribe. It's always free and it goes a very long way. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the Honda CUB as much as I do, because I cannot wait for more to come with this thing and take this thing in the dirt as Honda designed it for. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the next one.